we all found out about you. Your videos on Instagram kept appearing. And I was like, okay, I need to see this account now. Like it keeps coming up. I need to look at it. Like you cannot do.
Yeah, I'm happy that it is working. You know, we started. I started doing these videos. It was, I think, September or October, just because, you know, it always feels weird to, you know, take a camera and just film yourself while you're saying stuff. But I guess I always loved doing public speaking, so talking with people about artificial intelligence and about my work. And I wondered, like, why am I not doing this online? Because of course, like, I can go to conferences as many times as I want, but of course the reach I can have online, it's different. So that's why I started this project a few months ago. So I'm glad that it's working. It's good.
It is. And my the editor-in-chief as well was like, you need to look at this account. It would be interesting for a young person who started business so well and understands online content as well.
Cool.
There's a lot of online sponsored ads of people who are doing something that just doesn't work, especially when you're 55 and you don't do it properly. It just feels awkward. So I guess when it's well done, it's effective. Definitely.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Because apparently you don't like to do this.
I like to do this. It's just that I think it feels awkward the first time you do it, you know, because again, it's just you and a camera in a room, and you're like, well, I'm pushing this to who? Like I have, like when I started, I had like a few friends that were following me, and that's it. And so you have your friends that are like, Gianluca, what the hell are you doing? Like, I know you for doing, you know, other stuff, and now it's kind of weird to see you in the camera, especially when you are, you know, video one, like almost 0 followers, if not your mom and your friends, and that was awkward, you know. But I got so much positive response from people that were asking me, hey, I want to know more about how I can get started with artificial intelligence, how you got started with artificial intelligence. Can you tell me more about this, and that? And that was my goal. My goal has always been to try to increase awareness and to motivate and stimulate people to just get to know more about this technology, because it has given so much to me, and I believe it's the future. And I believe, like, if you don't get it, if you don't invest your time in trying to understand it, then you're gonna probably regret it, because it's one of these, you know, waves that are set to change the course of history, you know, and the way we work in the future.
I think that was actually one of my questions. How do you think working like this has helped the difference you saw in the way you do business from December to the way you did it beforehand? And especially the fact that you're doing it, but you're the co-founder of the academy is not. So this division also of work. So he apparently must hate it a lot. I don't know. Usually how it works, they're like, no social media. I don't want to do that.
No, well, so Nico, it's first of all, it's not just my co-founder. Is a great friend of mine. We lived together in Silicon Valley 5 years ago. You know, I just love that guy. But we are so different. Like, we are so different from each other. He's much smarter than me. First of all, I feel like when I'm next to him, I feel so dumb and so slow. He's just so smart, and but he's also less prone to talk with people, I guess. You know, he likes being in front of a computer and coding. So usually when we have meetings, 95% of the time I'm talking. I talk too much probably, and he talks like 5% of the time, maybe. And he started his own Instagram account, I think a couple of months ago, and he follows one person, that is me. I think that's really cute.
That was very helpful. That was very heart sharing. Like, I will follow you. I'll do this just for you.
Yeah, exactly. It took him, I think, 6 months to choose an Instagram handle, and
oh my God.
because it was like, I mean, that's forever, right? And I was like, I don't know if it's forever, but anyway, it's just like, you're not gonna use it. So we're completely different personalities. But also during our work, I think the way we work and the things we do in the company reflect also our personalities. So usually Nico, that again, it's just technically, it's just different level compared to me. And to basically anybody ever seen coding. So when we are dealing with a project, usually he jumps in when there's a tough technical issue that we need to fix. And he's the kind of guy that, you know, tackles a problem, wakes up in the morning, starts working on it, and he doesn't go to sleep until that's finished. So he literally sent me an email a message a couple of days ago at 2 a.m. It was like, hey, I'm done. See you tomorrow morning at the meeting at 9. And I was like, at 2 a.m.? Like, dude, you could have gone to sleep. This was no rush. But it's he loves technical. So it kind of makes sense. If you take a guy like this and you put him in front of a camera, he's not going to like it.
Yes.
To me, except the first awkwardness of, oh my God, what am I doing? And also I'm a perfectionist. So I was worried that it was another task during my work. It will take time from my work, and then I will start to hate it because it will become stressful, And I didn't want to do one video per month, I hate half projects. Either I go full in or I don't. And I was also worried about this, but I like it. I like talking to people, I like communicating, I like doing this, this thing we're doing right now. And he just doesn't, because it's not his personality, but that's why we work together,
Yes, you fit. And so yeah, about the question before, how did your business change by doing this?
Yeah, it's interesting. The beginning of this year, I decided to do. So maybe it's good if I explain a little bit what we do, so you understand more what I'm about to say. So we as AI Academy, we do two things mostly. The first thing is work on trainings and education. So educating people, usually large corporations. So we walk into the door of these corporations and we run typically 2-day workshops where we try to make them understand what is AI, what they can do with it, so what it means to their business, and usually also try to find out some projects that they can start off. We also do coaching, so we help leaders change their mindset and think really deeply about how the company can change with AI. And then the second thing that we do is technical consulting, usually at a very strategic level. So a company comes to us, for instance, one of the clients we're working with the most right now, it's Pampers, the diapers company, world leader, they make $1.5 billion of revenues per year, so pretty big. And they're working on these projects, and we help them build the projects, okay? So that being said, last year, I realized that I was spending 70% of my time doing the second thing. So building the projects, because when you build a project, it takes so much of your energy, so much of your attention, and you end up, doing that, and that's it, basically. And I was spending the rest 30% on education, and I realized that if I wasn't very structured, I will never flip the two, because I want to do 70% education and 30 coding, but I had to make a full stop and put my feet into the ground and say, I am going to dedicate time to educating people. And the way I did that is that from January, I decided to work on clients stuff just in my mornings. So I basically work half days, let's say. So I stop, answering to emails. I stop coding. I mean, of course, if there are, emergencies or important stuff, I'm gonna do it in the afternoon. But I usually stop at 1. And then I dedicate my afternoon to studying, creating content, or just doing what I love doing, that is trying to make people understand this stuff. And so I'm really excited to see how this is going to change. This is going to play in the future, because it's the 3rd week of January, so it's still right now. I love it. I'm so full of energy. I'm so happy. But let's see what results it's going to bring. I think it's a long-term game.
That's very it's a very challenging step you take. You've decided to put a limit to your own business. What advice would you give somebody who's having a hard time saying no? Most of the time, especially with businesses, and especially if it's yours, you always have to say yes. I mean, I see it with myself. I always say yes, and I end up doing everything all the time. That means that it takes a lot of strength then when you decide to draw the line and be like, I won't be answering emails after 1. If it's an emergency, like you're dying, then let me know. But that kind of what advice would you give to other entrepreneurs out there, especially the younger ones?
It's so hard. Honestly, it's very, very hard to do it. I'm not gonna say, oh, it's easy, just do this, and it's hard. But I'll tell you what made me click, what made me change the way I work. I do an exercise since a couple of years. In the beginning of the year, I posted a video on Instagram, maybe you saw it. I basically look at my previous year and I try to see all the activities that I've done that made me happy or the ones that made me unhappy. And so that's my personal side. Usually also take a look at the business side. So all the activities that brought me, revenues or, growth and all these things, and the ones that were, not really interesting from a business point of view. And if you look at it, the answer is clear on what you have to do. Because you always look at the things that made you unhappy were always the same things. For me, for instance, it was saying yes to projects I didn't believe in. A client comes to you and says, hey, Gianluca, I'm going to pay you to do this. And you're like, well, I don't think, this is a good idea, but you want it. I sell it. That's my job. I'll do it. And I realized that to say yes was making me unhappy. And guess what? It was also not good from a business point of view because I will get caught into these projects that will take all my energy and I wouldn't, look outside of the window and look for other stuff. And so once you have the picture clear, you get the confidence to say no. Because you see it, like literally I had all these post-its with all the activities I've done, and it was so obvious that I had to say no for the sake of my, personal happiness and for the sake of my business. It just made so much sense. And the funny thing is, as soon as I decided to do that, I feel like the universe kind of, gave it back to me. And I'm maybe trying to sign a contract for doing 12 workshops all around Europe along the year. So once a month in every country in Europe. I'm like cross fingers because that's not done yet. But that happened literally the day in which I decided I'm going to change the way I work and focus on this. So, I mean, that's, metaphysics stuff. And, I don't know if it's the universe that is answering me or whatever, a coincidence. Let's say whatever.
So do say that positive energy comes around with more positive energy. So if you put it out there, it comes back.
I know. But so my advice, if I have to say into one sentence, is look at what brought results, look at what made you happy, not just short term, but also in time. And once you see it, try to gain the confidence that your intuition of what to say no to, it's right. And then it's going to be easier. Not easy, but easier. Okay?
And when it comes to artificial intelligence, that's the topic that we all learn, I guess, but or elsewhere, a bit negative. They're always talking about the threats. They're talking about that Alexa is just listening to us in the corner. What were the challenges of you approaching a business that sometimes are going to be approached with, I don't need that, I have 25 employees, or you made the example in the Instagram video of a Chinese mother.
Yeah.
It took a lot of time in getting through the vegetables and seeing which zucchini would be the better one, and sort of instead it's better if you use artificial intelligence. So I guess that then the response, what was the response when you made that example? And the second question is, how did you manage to deal with the threats in a way that people were not still saying yes, but?
Yeah, I think it's the threats of AI. It's very funny because people that are not in the field think about some threats like losing jobs or AI becoming evil and killing all of us. The Terminator.
The Will Smith movie did not help.
Yeah, exactly. I call it the Terminator scenario. I am much more worried about other problems in AI. For instance, you mentioned, like when we were introducing each other, you mentioned about fake news and all these things, right? That really scares me because the filter bubble, the fact that AI recommends you what you like and you're not going to see anything else. This is what scares me. So my answer to your question, how do I deal with businesses that have these worries, is it's very straightforward. Just educate them, because once you understand, the reason why they are afraid is that they don't understand AI, and you are afraid of what you don't understand, right? Most of the times. Sometimes it's just I understand spiders, but I'm still afraid of spiders. But with technology, if you understand the technology, then you understand what are the real threats. So my solution is always to work on education. And it's also like I just talked about the threats. The same applies also to the opportunities. So a lot of companies think that the opportunities are for them like chatbots and crazy stuff that in the end turns out not to work. And sometimes there are some low-hanging fruits, like the cucumber project. That's so easy. That's technology it works since a couple of years, and you can do it literally in a week for basically no money. And companies don't think about this because in their mind they have Terminator, they have the crazy AI, the crazy robot that is gonna do all these things. And again, the solution there, it's actually there's two steps. The first is education, and the second one is introspection. It's just trying to think about why my business exists, what are the things that I do, what are the things that I can do with AI to deliver a bit more value, better value proposition, new services or whatever to my customers. And that takes, again, education and a lot of thinking. So sometimes we have this program that lasts for 3 months. It's a coaching program for executives. And it takes 3 months, I think, from my experience, to get all the right ideas and all the right, projects in mind for AI.
Then what about the actual threats that may come with, because anything can go bad. Yeah. And this not to put the introspective art AI as a negative thing, rather than more of a, because the argument is so interesting and seeing the implications of any technology or any project they've done in history. What do you think are then the ways that we can avoid AI being taken in the negative way? Like what are some threats that may come with AI? And this positively said against in educating people. And second of all, for the curious ones, I guess. And the second one is how can we say, okay, you are allowed to use technology if it's, I guess it's like the environmental idea of, oh my God, if you take away the fossil industry, then it's going to take away all the jobs. No, the Green Deal is going to help make new jobs. The same thing with AI. How do you approach that in a way that you say, okay, we can limit that, we can make it better. These are the threats, these are the solutions.
Well, there are some problems that I have a good, idea on how we can solve it, how it's gonna be solved, and there are some other ones that I honestly have no idea. I'll tell you the first ones first, okay? So one of the threats that everybody talks about is jobs, okay? And the argument that I have for this is, well, first of all, in history, every time that there was a technological revolution, it has always happened that people said we're going to lose so many jobs. The printing machine, it's one, for instance, and it turned out never to happen. Actually, more jobs were created. So society is more complicated than we think. It's much more complicated than we can ever think. So that's going to be, that's the first argument. So we don't know if it's going to lose jobs. And the second argument that I have is, well, some jobs, maybe it's good if they don't exist anymore. And I always make the example of a factory in China that makes chips that is famous. It's called the Suicide Factory. They literally had to install nets down the windows because people were jumping from the windows to kill themselves because they were bored to death. And do I want that job to be replaced by a machine? Hell yes. No, like humans are not made to do certain tasks. If you replace them, that's awesome. I think they'll be happy. Okay. And what this means is that if some jobs that are repetitive and just frustrating are going to be replaced, then humans will move to other jobs like healthcare or education that are the only two industries that didn't benefit from technology from a scaling point of view. Healthcare is always more expensive. Education is always more expensive. Just look at the US, everything is getting more and more expensive because while a mobile phone or a TV is getting always cheaper, it's because consumer goods, the price goes down because it takes advantages of technology. Education, no. So if we take even less people to produce a TV or a car or whatever, we can move them to these industries that need humans, they need people. So I'm not that worried about the argument, about the problem, about jobs. We'll see, I guess. What I'm more worried about is the filter bubble, for instance. So the filter bubble, for maybe somebody who doesn't know what it means, is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they all use algorithms to select the content you're going to see. So let's suppose that you like Donald Trump and I like Hillary Clinton. If you interact just with posts about Donald Trump, that's all you're going to get. All the negative stuff about Donald Trump, you're not going to get it because you don't like it. You're not going to click on it. And Facebook, its algorithm thinks, well, why should I show Asia some negative stuff about Donald Trump if I know she doesn't like it? And then she's going to close the app and turn my competitors up. What it means is that you're never going to know all the negative stuff about him. And on the other side, I'm never going to know the positive stuff about him. I'm sure that there is some. I don't know. I don't want to get into politics. Let's just suppose that there is some positive stuff. Let's just suppose. And I'm going to just see on the other side the positive stuff about Hillary Clinton. You're not going to see and that's a big issue because people live in their own bubble. They think that the world is what the algorithm is telling them. That's a massive issue. And unfortunately, I don't see the solution for this, not because technically it's super easy to fix. You can just tell the algorithm, well, sometimes push in something that is not supposed to be pushed. That's it. But it's completely against the business model of these companies. Facebook leads because you click on stuff, because you like stuff. If they start to fix this, so if they start to fix the social political, sorry?
You lose consumers.
You lose consumers, exactly. So it's a trade-off. Like, do I want to be fair or do I want to make money? Well, a public company wants to make money. So I don't see the solution for that. And the issue is not the issue is big. Look at Donald Trump, look at Brexit, look at all these things that are happening in the world. They are 100% shaped by AI algorithms. 100%. I'm gonna put my signature on it. So the consequences are real. The consequences are Mexicans being deported. This is the third order consequence, but it's a consequence. And I don't know the solution for this, honestly.
I think one other question mine was when we expanded the internet. So I guess in our generation, I imagine you were born the same year I was. I don't know. I'm guessing. How old are you?
I'm 29 almost.
So we're more or less the same generation of
yeah.
When the internet started developing really fast, so fast. The time MSN would send your trails, whatever that was. But again, and people started introducing in schools digital citizenship. So the idea that you teach kids how to use internet, do not film a friend who's, webcam and without her consent, kind of that stuff.
Yeah.
So do you think that it would be interesting? So I searched online on YouTube. We did some classes for high schoolers on AI, and that's educating them on the topic.
Yeah.
Would it be interesting to educate them also on how to use AI? So the AI citizenship, you introduce that understanding of Facebook is doing this, just be aware of it, FYI.
Yeah, I think that can help, but on a subconscious level, you're still, bombarded. You still get all this information. Like there was a research that showed if you start looking at videos about vegetarianism on YouTube, you end up looking at veganism. So it always gets more extreme. Imagine it, race discussion. If you start looking at stuff about race, then you end up looking at really bad stuff about race. It's like algorithms tend to bring you to more extreme places because that works. That makes companies money. Even if you know it, still the fact that you get this content and you absorb this content is still shaping your mind. You can be aware of it. It's like advertising. People say advertising doesn't work on me. It does. You don't know it, but it does. There was a research about, actually last week, this guy made a research about the correlation of advertising spend and happiness, and he found a negative correlation. So he found that the more a country had ad spend, the less happy it was the year after. And I haven't read the research, so I don't know the math that this guy has done, but it's a peer-reviewed article, so I guess there is some correlation. So it does impact humans, period. It helps to educate people, but again, Facebook needs to make money. So that's what's going to happen.
How long do you think this is going to last? Downside to stuff. So.
The downsides, you mean?
Two things. Business goes up, business goes down. How long is this going to last of Is Facebook going to be forever? This idea that we're going to be shoved in our faces everything that we supposedly want.
Well, recently I'm getting really into climate change research, so I honestly don't know if the planet is gonna last, you know? So
Oh, that's so deep. that
I
went
don't,
very far.
I don't want to get too dark, but no, I think it's really hard to imagine a world without Facebook. It's really hard.
Yes.
And if Facebook fails, because Facebook was like super active a while ago, and now it's Instagram that is still owned by Facebook, but it's still a platform shift, you know? Maybe TikTok is going to be the next big thing.
Oh,
Or I hope not. I don't like it.
No.
But that's the thing. Like, I realize I don't know if you have, cousins or little sisters that are younger. My cousin is 14, yes. And if I see how he uses social media, it's so different from me.
Yeah.
He's on YouTube all the time, and I'm on YouTube just when I need to look at something, you know? He uses it as I use Instagram, as I used Facebook. So what I'm trying to say is maybe Facebook is going to fail, maybe, I don't know, but the concept of social media stays. And people, like if it's not Facebook, it's going to be, I don't know, Asia Book, the new platform funded by you, that is going to be the next big thing. And unfortunately, the business model is always the same. These companies sell eyeballs to other companies. They sell your attention to Coca-Cola, McDonald's, or whatever. It's just the way it is. It probably is gonna end if we find another business model that can make this company make money without, trying to shape your mind and trying to make you buy, that pair of.
That reminds me, this is a personal story, but one of my clients has a fur company in Milan, and they are a fur company. They make fur out of
Yeah.
mostly, and then we take your. I'm not a fan of that, just because my personal morals. But and he was asking me, would you mind Facebooking me and seeing how that appears? And I sort of explained to him that exactly doesn't work, especially because when I did, everything that came out was all animal stuff, like animal equality, all company like charities I was following on Facebook saying you shouldn't buy fur is bad. And I didn't tell them, but I was laughing because I thought, you see how my world does not fit yours.
Yeah.
Like on Facebook, because it's so completely different. So I had to use another Facebook friend who sort of to explain to him again, this is not how it works.
Yeah, I mean,
it's so amazing how that actually fits out.
You want to know what's even a easier, like a faster example to do? If you try to look for Egypt from Europe, or try to look at Egypt from the US on Google, you get completely different results. Because for Europeans, Egypt is a travel location. For Americans, usually it's war. It's Middle East.
Yeah, I never
Try that out. Try that out. It's true.
So I should Google. What should I Google?
You should Google Egypt from where you are, and then if you use a VPN from the US, you can see how it looks like in the US.
I will do that afterwards. I'd rather.
Try that out.
Yeah. Where are you settled? Where's your business settled?
My business is like let's say the business location is in Rome, but I live in Copenhagen. So I run it from Copenhagen, and I take a lot of flights. Unfortunately, I would like to stop. Climate change and stuff. But that's the truth right now, is that I'm living in Copenhagen but working all over Europe, so that requires quite a lot of traveling.
Yes. Well, we don't want to all be like, I mean, fair enough, Greta is a wonderful girl, but we started saying what she was saying 20 years ago, and she goes around in trains. So if you have the time, I guess Europe is very good with trains.
Yeah.
You can't prospect people going around the US in trains. In New York, maybe yes, but in Florida, you can't.
Yeah. I mean, from Copenhagen to, like, I have to go often to Pescara. That is a small-ish town in Italy, and I guess it will take me a week probably with a train. I have no idea. I don't know. I have to look into it. But
So you're originally from Pescara, though?
No, Pescara. I'm from Rome. Pescara is where our client is.
Oh, okay. So you'd have to, you would have to fly.
That would be hard, yeah.
Definitely, that would be hard.
Like in Central Europe, yeah, it's fine. Like from Paris to London, I took the train that goes down,
Yeah. it's easier trains up north. I mean, I lived in London for a year and a half, and it was way better than, I guess, of getting from the south, unless you're going to France. It's easier to go from France to Paris to London than from Milan to Paris.
Yeah.
It's also
Yeah,
different.
it is.
So about your book, tell me about your book. Tell me what's your plan with it, and a little more about it. It would be good also so that when we mention it in the interview, it's sort of a preview to that your publishing date, if you have any.
Yeah. So the book, it was a crazy journey. So when we started our company, our goal was to make AI more democratic. So to help as many people as we can understand AI. And then we realized, we always said, well, we're not actually doing it, because in the end of the day, we are working for large organizations. So, you know, that guy in the street, how am I going to reach him? And so we always thought, sooner or later, we need to write a book to help everybody understand AI. And we always thought that one day, until the book came to us, basically, because a publisher has read a blog post written by my co-founder, who's also my co-author of the book. And he asked him, hey, do you want to write a book about AI for developers? And he said, no, but I want to write a book about AI for non-technical people. And they were like, that's not what we want, but let's talk about it. So we pitched them the idea, and they loved it. And so we started working on the book that turned out to be much more complicated than we expected. I mean, I guess that's a normal story. I don't know, but we expected to take 6 months to write it. It took a year and a half. Yeah. So the publisher wasn't particularly mad with us, so I'm guessing that's normal. I don't know, but it was very.
I imagine he's used to it. Isn't that the certified writers handing in?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But you know, it was very complicated, because what we wanted to do was we wanted it to be a one-stop manual for everybody that wants to understand it and use it in their business. So we didn't want to be like, I'm going to tell you one part of the story and then buy this other book to know the other part of the story. We wanted to be as complete and as, you know, as deep as possible into the subject. And the issue, what made it really complicated to write it was that we wanted to be accessible, but at the same time, very, you know, deep, very complete. I wanted to touch all the possible topics. So we run through, I think we rewrote it basically 3 times. We ran through so many iterations. We had, I think in total, around 60 reviewers that read it in different stages and got feedback and implemented it. And right now, I'm pretty proud of the final work. I think it's my baby, so of course I guess I'm not very objective. I'm biased, but I think it's probably the best resource I found around to teach AI to non-technical people. Because again, there's not a lot. I feel like all people that understand AI, they think about other people that understand AI and they talk between themselves, and the only persons that are talking to, you know, the guy on the street are the, you know, journalists that might clickbait titles. And so that there's not much for, you know, the regular guy that wants to understand it. And the only stuff there is out there, I wasn't happy with it. So that's why I'm very proud of the work we've done. The book is finished. So we finished writing it. Now it's doing, you know, copywriting and indexing and all this publisher stuff. The publisher, its content is going to be out in April.
Okay.
I can't wait to hold it in my hands. You know, it's a big book. It was a lot of work, a lot of hours, a lot of frustration, a lot of excitement, a lot of ups and downs.
Are you guys gonna do a book tour for it?
We're planning it. There's nothing really concrete yet, except that, again, you have to think that all the trainings we do, basically the company as and the book, it's one thing, right? It's what we believe in, that just gets different names. It can be called AI Academy, that's the name of the company. It can be called Gianluca Mauro, Nicolò Baligi is my co-founder, or Zero to I, that is the book. It's the same thing. So every time we do trainings, I would call it a book tour. So we give the book usually to all the people that attend our courses, because, I mean, of course, it's It's basically the same content in different form. So I will call all our trainings a book tour, maybe.
We are always here, available.
Yeah, let's call it this way.
Yeah. I guess you've touched most of the questions. So it would be very interesting to then see what are your plans for the future. So you want to teach more. Do you have any? So I imagine that you don't mind age. So you can teach high schoolers, as you can teach leaders, as you can make an online course, as long as you educate, I guess. Do you have any preferences or specific plans that you would like to implement that
Yeah,
the year hasn't yet sent to you?
I do. I really do. So what we're gonna launch this year, it's our first online course. Because again, if you think about our mission of making AI more democratic, not everybody has the budget or an organization that decides to buy a face-to-face course for 2 days. So we decided to do an online course, and the idea is that the course is going to be a paid course for professionals, but we're going to give it like either very cheap or basically for free for students. Because there's a lot of demand of people. Like I get a lot of DMs on Instagram and emails and LinkedIn from people that are studying maybe art or maybe literature or business and marketing, whatever, and they want to know more about AI. So we're gonna try to shift our focus from corporate job, face-to-face stuff, to also online B2C products for people like, I don't know, maybe like you, or maybe again the famous guy in the street that wants to know more about AI. And this is happening in the next, I think in Q2 2020. We're just finishing to set up the content and trying to adapt what we do face to face that really works to adapt it to the online version. We don't want to give a crappier version of what we do face to face. Stuff that works, like companies love it. We want to make sure that we find a way to translate all the great stuff about the format into an online version. And I'm very excited about this. I'm so pumped because it's something that can.
A lot of the content online I see is mostly based on building more engineering level. It's still AI, but like I bought the Arduino kit.
Yeah.
Because I did that as a study, as my master's. I build sensors, so that's what I'm passionate about.
Oh, cool. What's your master in?
Physical geography.
Oh, nice.
That's why when you mentioned climate change is a bit of a personal thing, because I've always done it. So my interest is to find a job that would allow me to test out whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I got interested in Arduino and building. I mean, I tattooed it on my arm. That's
wow.
Yes,
That's
I love
crazy.
it. People get shocked about it. Like, it looks like a carpet. Hell no, that's a microprocessor. So respect, please.
Jesus, I thought it was like when you were moving, I was like, that looks like the Indian. How do you call it? From far away, it looks like this Indian like geometry. Yeah.
It looks like a carpet. Like if you have to look at it very well, that you have the main.
Yeah. Now look at it. It's a microprocessor. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I love it.
So it's very nice how the manual of Arduino comes with all the explanation, but I imagine it would be different from a book like yours.
Yeah, especially because, when you translate from theory to an organization, there's no manual, there's no precise path. Either you understand exactly what you're doing or you can't even get started, So it is very different. And that's why we really stretch a lot on the core concepts. We always say that if you want to build a house, you gotta have strong foundations. So there's no shortcuts. There's no, do this and then this and then this and bam, you have an AI product. Cool. You need to know how it works. And then based on that, build the rest. And so again, the course, even if it's for non-technical people, it still has like no math, no code, but it still has a strong foundation of technical concepts explained in a very easy way. And that's the methodology we refine. It's 40 years that we do this. It's 4 years that we try to talk to people that don't know anything about math or computer science. And I think we learned a thing or two, and we're trying to transform it into a more accessible format online.
And I guess could be the last topic wrapping up, because so foreign readers are going to be reading about you, about your company. What about Italy? Italy, I always like to have this question because it's interesting, the reflection from it. Italy's not seen well. We understand that. We have to admit it, and peace to our souls. Um, and not everywhere, but sort of the general idea. What do you, how are your challenges in Italy and Europe instead? Did Italy approach your business so bad? Is it really so hard to start a company in Italy as a young professional?
So I'll give you two answers. One is about AI specifically, and the other one it's about starting a business.
I guess it's more about your business and you as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So I have a very mixed feelings about my country because I love it and hate it. Uh, it's I think every Italian, especially young Italians, have the same love and hate relationship with Italy. Italy. So for people that are from outside of the country, Italy it's so different from any other country that I've lived in, and that I had contacts with. It's a country that has so much potential, so much, so much, and I think there are mainly two things that prevent us from realizing that potential: politics and mindset. We have our, like this Renzo Piano is one of the most famous worldwide architects. He said that we have like the weight of our culture is so heavy that we have to carry it around, and that changed the way we think. I think most Italians, they think they're so tied to traditions because our culture is so great that you tend to think about the past and you forget that, well, the world is going forward like a train at full speed. So what happens is you have great universities, people that have crazy good technical knowledge, and then what you're not applying it because you think, well, it was better back in the days, or you get what I'm saying. So like my university, I studied engineering, and we like our preparation in math and basics of engineering was like top level. When I went to study in Belgium, I was better than anybody in core science. I always tell the example, I studied energy engineering and I kicked ass to material engineers at material engineering exams because my knowledge of the foundations was much better than theirs. But when it comes to applying stuff, we suck because our universities are so into theory that they don't do practice because practice is dirty, and we're going to do the old stuff. And that's the break. It's the mindset. Our mindset is look at the past and think how cool we are that we did the Colosseum. Well, we're not like, I think the last cool thing we've done was Olivetti, probably in the 70s, that failed. And I don't know what else. I don't know. I just can't think of the last recent very cool thing we've done. I can't think about it, to be honest. Cars, maybe? Fashion? I don't know. Anyway, so there is a strong potential, and that's why I always tell people here in Denmark or in the US, they should invest because the potential is here. We just need, I think most Italians need mentors. They just need mentors. Like we hired 5 interns in August last year, and with the idea of growing them and trying to help them see what we saw outside of Italy and try to change their mindset. That's, I think, what we need. We need people that go outside, see the world in 2020, come back to Italy, realize the gap, and try to help young people grow. And doing a business, then I'm going to the second question, like for me, it was hard, especially because if you're young, again, since we're very traditional, if you're young, people don't take you that seriously usually, especially if you try to do consulting for large organizations. I always say the same example. My co-founder, it's considered and it's paid as a senior developer in Silicon Valley when it builds self-driving cars. So the top, the NBA, the Series A, the Premier League of engineering, he's a senior developer. In Italy, a company that does, mobile apps and, very basic, like, level 0 technology told him, no, you're junior. I'm sorry, we have to pay you like a junior developer because you're 28. And Nico was like, well, I kick ass to everyone in your company, so maybe I'm not junior, you know? I had experiences that your developers dream about. Maybe I'm a senior guy. And they were like, nah, you know, your hair, it's not gray, so you're junior. That's hard.
Yes, that is. That is.
It's hard, but you know what? It's changing. It's changing. I see, like, if you have to be humble as a young guy, but you also have to stand for what you know your worth. So if you know your worth, just say it out loud and prove it. Once you prove it, then it's done. Like, honestly, I also was paid as a junior guy because I was a junior guy. When I became now I think I'm better than, you know, a lot of other organizations. I feel like
You've demonstrated that. So,
I just see the results. I produced it, and then companies still maybe sometimes try to pay me like a junior guy, and it's not about money. It's about, you know, just acknowledging my work.
Respect a little bit, yes.
It's about respect, right? And now that I know that I'm confident that my work it's has a lot of value, I just, you know, stick my feet into the ground, and you have to hustle a little bit, but then they accept it. They're starting to understand. They're starting to be bored of being scammed by people that get paid a lot just because their hair is gray, you know. So that's changing. I'm positive, honestly. The new generation is gonna be
Even more, I think.
yeah, it's gonna be.
I consider, I see that, I don't know. I think it might be better for some women now. My cousin is 16, so I hope that she's going to have a little bit of a smoother path than I did. But I was lucky that I barely worked in Italy ever. I always worked with foreigners. So the approach in London was absolutely completely different than the approach I had in an Italian company here. I was shocked. I think I had a cultural shock back home.
But you know what is funny? When I was in Italy, because I lived in Belgium, I lived in Silicon Valley, then I went back to Italy, and then I went to Denmark. When I was in Italy, companies were, you know, treating me one way. When I moved to Denmark and I kept working for the Italian companies, the way they behaved with me changed.
In a better way?
In a much better way. Like it was.
I think it's also a little bit of Italian thing. They think that because it makes you look cooler, I guess, then they have to treat you with respect. If you had a lot of a good, I mean, tell me if I'm right or wrong. If you've had a lot of experience here, then you go work for them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm the same guy. I'm the same human. I mean, I learned a lot in being in Denmark because it's a cool place, and I live with cool people, and I had cool experiences. So for sure, I'm better, but just the way they look at you is different. You're suddenly cooler. I don't know. It's irrational. There's a word in Italian. It's called esterofilo. Then I don't know how to translate it in English. Do you have an Italian an English translation for it?
How is it called?
Esterofilo. It's basically a lover of whatever it's from abroad. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway.
Foreign novels. Foreign. I'll find a way.
You get what I'm saying. That's the truth. So if I have to be practical, what I will say to somebody who's doing business in Italy, it's not going to be easy. It's just not. If you have an online business, nobody sees your face. So if you're young, nobody knows it.
It's like the movie with Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know if you've seen it. In the world of business, she pretended to be a male CEO, and she got all the clients because as a woman, she got none.
Ah, okay. I haven't seen the movie, but yeah.
It's an interesting perspective, and I have to agree that if it's not age, if it's not gender, something else will come up that will see.
Yeah. On the other hand, like if you have client, like I have to look to show up at clients. Yes. And all my friends that are very successful, I think of Luca Barboni, there is a marketer in Rome. His co-founder, Roberto Verde, he's also very successful. I think about Matteo Aliotta is another marketer in Italy. A bunch of, you know, a bunch of people that I think are really successful. And what they have in common is that they're very in your face. They're like, this is what I believe in. I know it's work because I have proof. Like I did this. If you treat me poorly, it's your fucking problem. Okay? So that's how they are. They're like tanks. They walk over any kind of problem that that older people can present them. And I'm more or less the same. I'm maybe more polite than Luca. Luca literally showed up with a T-shirt at an event saying "polite as fuck," and people told him that
I wish I had the same.
so. People told him, Luca, please wear a blazer. You have to be like very businessy. And he was like, well, no, that's not who I am. And so he showed up with a T-shirt. I'm not at that level. I'm a bit more chill. I still show up in suit and this kind of stuff. But just stick your feet into the ground. If you know your worth, just push it out loud.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess you've touched most of the points, and so if you have anything you want to add, I'll add that. I think I already started in my head a little bit of what I want to revolve around. I think it'd be interesting to focus on the idea that you want to educate, or at least you want to train in such a new topic, because it has been around, but not this way.
Yeah.
So if you want to add anything, do you have anything I haven't touched particularly?
I think it was a very nice discussion, and I feel like we naturally touched most of the things most of the messages that I wanted to give. So I think that was a good interview. Thank you again. Have a good day.
You too. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.